faster than their opponents. The pumpkins are grown especially for the race and need to weigh a minimum of 550 pounds. First prize, 300 euros. That's about $345.
Well, they're doing well.
You should get Matthew got involved in this.
Yeah, the engineering students.
All right, that's our time for now. Thanks for watching. News 3 at 5 starts right after this.
Right now at 5, tonight's storms could cause some major problems for communities in southern Wisconsin as they continue to deal with flooding from earlier this week.
The days of free parking in downtown Janesville are almost over now that police plan to enforce parking restrictions.
This is News 3 at 5.
And thanks for staying with News 3. People in western counties, including Lafayette, are experiencing significant flooding and bracing for more.
Darlington schools were closed for the day today after several roads were shut down. Our Keely Arthur is live there now with a closer look. Keely?
We are in downtown Darlington right now, and look at all of this water right in front of the Main Street Bridge over there, and that serves as the main way for people to get through this town. Obviously impassable right now, and the big reason why they shut down schools. And while this looks bad, it's expected to get worse. Now, the Pecatonica River was expected to crest at around 14 feet yesterday. Well, it's today, and it's at 15.8 feet, and officials say they're only worried it's going to get worse.
Most of the roads that are going to be flooded are flooded right now. It's just a matter of how long they're going to stay flooded. The waters are receding. It's just not very fast.
They are receding.
Yes.
But after a rain tonight.
Right. It's going to come right back up.
If that does happen, authorities say take extra caution. Please avoid driving through any water, especially at night. Also avoid swimming as it is pretty warm right now. One thing to note, though, these people are not strangers to flooding. A lot of businesses that used to be down here have actually moved uphill as a way to avoid any flooding. And right now they are unscathed, but of course that could change as these water levels are expected to rise tonight. Back to you.
And hopefully not too much more rain on the way tonight. Keely Arthur reporting live. Thanks, Keely.
City officials have a plan to fix one of Madison's most frequently flooded roadways, but it won't begin until 2021. City engineers will add a storm sewer drain in addition to the one already in place near University Avenue. This is part of a construction project there. They believe it will significantly reduce all that street flooding near Midvale and Shorewood Boulevards.
We're still in the early planning stages. We'll plan to have a lot of public information meetings to get the information out there and take people's input on the designs and what are the effects of those designs. I think probably the first information meeting is probably going to be in the late winter, early springtime.
Back in 2013, a smaller project to add an additional storm sewer was approved for 2019. However, once the larger University Avenue project was budgeted, officials say they decided to schedule it all at once.
Let's get a check on the weather now. Gary Canalti is in the Weather Center. Gary?
Well, we're watching some thunderstorms to our north. Some of those could bring severe weather. Also, additional heavy rainfall could be possible in a few spots, but I don't think it's going to be widespread because of the fast movement of the thunderstorms. As you take a look at visible cloud tracks, storms are starting to fire up in central northern Wisconsin, right ahead of a cold front. Storm prediction Prediction Center now has a slight risk of severe thunderstorms across our entire viewing area, even to the south into northern Illinois, an enhanced risk area up to the north. A tornado watch already in effect until 11 p.m. for areas just north of our WISC-TV viewing area. Future Doppler track shows a line of thunderstorms developing out to our west over the next couple of hours, and by about 7 o'clock or a little thereafter, should be pushing through the La Crosse area and then heading toward Madison. Low temperatures this morning started out in the mid-50s, but those temperatures were rising overnight. We've been as warm as 84 Madison. Record high for today, 85, set back in 2005. We'll have to wait and see if we got that warm. We're at 83 right now, but dew point temperatures are in the middle 60s to lower 70s. So the heat index, yes, the heat index in October is in the lower 80s. Winds also pretty strong out of the south at around 20 miles per hour. By tomorrow morning, the shower and thunderstorm chances will end around midnight. We'll see sunny skies for tomorrow, but temperatures will drop into the middle 40s by tomorrow morning. And tomorrow's high temperatures about this time, about 30 degrees cooler in the middle 50s. That's your First Alert forecast.
All right, thank you, Gary. A Madison man was sentenced to life in prison without parole for his role in a homicide on the city's north side in 2017. Donald Davis Jr. was arrested in August of 2017 in connection with a homicide on West Karstens Drive. He was found guilty at a jury trial in June of first-degree intentional homicide, first-degree reckless injury, and eluding an officer. He was sentenced today to life in prison without parole. Davis was one of 3 people charged in Sierra Philomali's death, including Jennifer Lovick and Corey Johnson. Johnson and Lovick pleaded guilty. Both are scheduled to be sentenced in November.
A Beloit man accused of beating the mother of his baby with a hammer and stabbing her has been charged. 29-year-old Jonathan Castro charged with 6 counts, including attempted first-degree intentional homicide today in Rock County Court. According to a criminal complaint, officials said Castro's mother called police Monday night to report that her son had attacked the woman. Police found the woman inside covered in blood with a gash on her head, and a chunk of her ear was cut off. She suffered a skull fracture and significant head trauma. She is expected to survive. Castro told police he was upset because the woman was trying to leave with their son. He remains in jail on a $100,000 cash bond.
A Madison man and teenager have been charged after shooting a 16-year-old near La Follette High School last week. According to a criminal complaint, 17-year-old Jamie Hayes and 21-year-old DeJuan Briggs were charged with 2 counts, first-degree attempted intentional homicide and first-degree recklessly endangering safety. Last Wednesday, witnesses reported a fight between several young men at the corner of Linda Vista Road and Turner Avenue. Police say Briggs brought a gun to the fight and a teenager suffered a non-life-threatening gunshot wound. Both men remain in jail on $50,000 cash bonds.
A man fell into a sinkhole and was trapped as a neighbor and crews worked to get him out. The Grant County Sheriff's Office said the man fell into the sinkhole in Montfort. This was yesterday as the ground gave way about 3 feet in front of his garage. The man was trapped in that hole for approximately 30 minutes. As the hole continued to give way, a neighbor heard the man yell for help, put a step ladder into that hole. You can see it there. He was unable to get out with that ladder because the hole was simply unstable and about 25 feet deep. First responders were eventually able to pull the man to safety. Police in Janesville are preparing to enforce laws they haven't been enforcing in years.
And it could impact anyone who visits downtown. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter joins us from our bureau at the Janesville Gazette with why some people are glad this is happening. Adam?
Well, Eric and Susan, people that live and work near downtown Janesville know that for the most part, parking enforcements are, well, not enforced. But police say the days of free-for-all parking could soon be coming to an end, and for some people, this is really good news. Parking outside of Carousel Consignments in downtown Janesville is hard to come by. Owner Joni Bozart says the 1-hour spots outside her store are almost never open.
People who work in other businesses, offices, stores, they may be tenants that live above the buildings. They may not understand the importance of that parking.
Bozart says time limits along Main Street are not followed or enforced, leaving people parking in spots designated for customers coming and going all day.
Say somebody works an 8-hour shift and they just park right out front. That should be used for the short-term 1 or 2 hour parking.
Janesville police say they haven't been enforcing these spots for years, which is news to some people who work downtown.
Well, I assumed it was being enforced, and I assumed I was getting lucky on the rare day when I parked in the 2-hour parking that they just didn't enforce that day.
But the days of parking where you want for however long you want are almost over. as police plan to start enforcing and ticketing these areas starting in November. Although they say they wish people would just follow the rules.
We would be happy not to have to write any tickets. If people self-regulated down there and obeyed all the parking, that would be fantastic. We would love that.
For some, parking somewhere else might be a nuisance, but others agree with store owners like Joni Bozart. This is a change that needs to come.
It's annoying, sure. You know, I wish I could park at that 2-hour spot again, but this is for the greater good. This is about making Janesville more affable for pedestrians. This is about making things better and more accessible.
Now, police admit it's going to be a bit of a transition to go from not ticketing at all to ticketing all the time. So for the month of October, they're issuing warnings that look just like this, but coming November 1st, that'll be the real thing.
Adam Duxter in our Rock County Bureau. Thanks, Adam.
Madison Mayor Paul Soglin says the city's 2019 budget focuses on upward economic mobility and helps to provide for a safer community. Mayor Soglin laying out his 2019 operating budget earlier today. He says 2017 was the worst year in the city for homicides. In just the first 6 months or so, 9 men were killed. In his 2017 budget, he added $400,000 for peer support programs to help address rising violence in some parts of the city. Since then, he says there have only been 2 homicides in the last 15 months. So in the 2019 budget, he'll add another $300,000 to that program.
I want to see us take it to a new level, where we're not just responding to violence and preventing retaliation, but we are actually building connections into employment, into housing, and into a healthy environment for all.
Also in the budget is funding for community neighborhood centers and more funding for mental health and substance abuse programs.
Well, you may want to check your mail tonight for a voting mailer that could have incorrect information.
It's from a group saying they're trying to increase voter turnout this year. Political reporter Jess Garb joins us now with what you should do if you get one of these mailers, Jess.
Well, we actually learned about this because of a News 3 viewer who contacted us and had a lot of questions. She showed us her mailer where she noticed that some of the information the group used to tell her to request an absentee ballot was wrong. Nancy Warner got a letter this week from a group called the Center for Voter Information. One immediate red flag to her was that her name included 2 middle names that weren't hers. And when she looked at the absentee ballot request form the letter asked her to send in, this Oregon resident was directed to send it to Prairie du Sac.
If other people are getting these inaccurate applications, I am concerned.
Unfortunately, this happens every election. There's always some group out trying to be helpful and to get people to register to vote or to vote in a certain election. And it is not uncommon sometimes for them to send out misinformation.
Now, we reached out to that group, the Center for Voter Information, a 501c4, which is based in Washington, D.C. They claim they're a nonpartisan group trying to encourage voting and say they've sent out more than 270,000 of these mailers across the state, and in a statement said they go to, quote, great lengths to provide accurate information and addresses on all mail pieces. The Elections Commission says while that form, if filled out correctly, will work to get you an absentee ballot, they encourage voters to get one from their municipal clerk or from the myvote.wi.gov website. We also know Wisconsin's not the only state this is happening. There's been stories in Minnesota, Iowa, Kansas this week. They're going out all over the place, so keep an eye on it.
All right, good information. Jess Garb reporting. Jess, thank you.
Thank you, Jess. There's more to come tonight at 5. Up next, you may have received a presidential alert on your phone today. We'll explain what it means.
And on Wall Street, major indices all on the positive side of the ledger today. The Dow climbs 54. The NASDAQ added 25.5. The S&P was up 2. We'll be right back. The federal government is testing out a new alert system to notify you in the event of an emergency.
If you have a cell phone, you may have received what they're calling a presidential alert, as the system was tested today for the first time. Rose Schmidt was on the Capitol Square at 1:18 p.m. and tells us how people reacted as those messages came in. She's in the news center with that. Hi, Rose.
Hi. Well, everyone I talked to today got an alert, but News 3 had some Facebook comments from some people saying they got multiple messages or didn't get one at all. Now, if you saw the alert today, please do not panic. It's only a test, and it's designed to keep you safe. This is not an unusual sight for a Wednesday afternoon on the square.
Cell phones are something that a lot of people have. A lot of people carry with them.
And that's exactly why the federal government is using them to send you the information you need to know.
Things have changed over time.
The time is 1:18 p.m.
At this exact minute, you may have felt your phone buzz or heard an annoying sound. We can't replicate it on TV, but you probably already know what it sounds like.
You could even hear it from just walking around other people's phones.
But if you weren't ready for it...
I was kind of panicking. I was sitting in my car and I see the text. Then I panicked because I didn't watch the news. I didn't hear nothing about it.
Others...
Luckily, the radio gave me a heads up that it was coming.
Knew FEMA would be sending out that test. One you didn't have to study for. And much like school, it prepares you for the real thing.
We're talking about natural disasters, man-made disasters, or terrorist activity.
Andrew with Wisconsin Emergency Management says our state has checks and verification in place to make sure you won't get an alert by accident, and only if there's an actual emergency.
You know, go back to the old emergency broadcast system, where you just have TV waves and radio waves sending out information. People may not have those devices on all the time anymore, but they do have a cell phone on them.
And after 1:18,
it's a relief knowing that everyone seemed to get an alert at the same time.
Business went back to normal on the square, almost like it never happened. Now, it's called a presidential alert, but the president did not actually write it. FEMA works with other agencies to select a message to send to you. And in case you were wondering, no, this alert cannot be turned off.
Did you get it today?
I got it.
You
Still
did?
some kinks to be worked out, though, right?
I didn't get mine, yeah. So that's why they call it a test, I guess. They're
Yeah, like I
figuring it
said,
out.
yeah, different people got multiple messages or didn't get one at all, so some kinks definitely.
All right, Rose Schmidt in the newsroom. Rose, thanks.
Thanks, Rose. And of course, we've gotten those weather alerts through the years. We're used to those. And first alert weather now. Gary, looking at our forecast. Gary.
Yeah, hopefully we won't need any alerts tonight, but we may. We'll have to see if the threat for severe weather materializes tonight. The winds are just howling behind me right now. Let's start out by taking a look at visible cloud track. You can see how the skies became sunny over southern Wisconsin. That allowed temperatures to climb into the mid to upper 80s, flirting with record high temperatures. Here in Madison, so far we're a degree shy of the record. Milwaukee tied a record high. Janesville was at 88 today. But thunderstorms have been developing up in northern Wisconsin, and you can see a tornado watch in effect until 11 p.m. up there. A line of thunderstorms starting to develop around the Twin Cities will continue to develop southward. And as you can see, the severe weather outlook has a slight risk of severe thunderstorms through our entire viewing area, with an enhanced risk, a higher risk, farther up to the north, where the threat is there for some tornadoes, maybe a couple of strong tornadoes up in that hatched area in northern and northeastern Wisconsin. High wind probabilities are also higher up there, and that hatched area indicates the potential for strong straight-line winds in excess of 75 miles per hour in a stronger thunderstorm north of Green Bay. And then the hail threat highest across north-central Wisconsin, but still hail threat here in southern Wisconsin. Now, future Doppler track, this is a prediction of the radar over the next 3 hours. You can see how a line of thunderstorms starts to develop farther south into Iowa. And as we head toward the 7 and 8 o'clock hour, you can see a couple of lines of thunderstorms, one north of Madison and another back toward the La Crosse area, and that's right along the cold front. Precipitation potential through Saturday. We'll get more rain on Friday. We could be looking at about 1 to 2 inches of rain from Madison southward, maybe a little less than an inch north of Madison, but heavier amounts in some of the heavier thunderstorms. Precipitation potentials from the U.S. GFS computer model, and that's just in the process of updating. That's why there's no numbers on the screen. But by over the next week to 10 days, we could be looking somewhere in the neighborhood of about 3 to 5 inches of rain, or locally more, over much of southern Wisconsin, centered right around the Madison area. And that's what we don't need, but a very active weather pattern will continue through much of next week. Live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville. Skies are sunny there. The WISC Skycam shows sunshine over the west side of Madison with some clouds in the distance, and the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison showing sunny skies over the southern end of Lake Mendota. The almanac for today shows our high temperatures so far: 84 degrees, record high 85 set back in 2005, low 55 this morning. Right now we're at 83 degrees, winds howling out of the south-southwest at 20 miles per hour. Heat index is at 85. You don't think you have to have a heat index in early October, but we do for today. Look at the difference in temperatures. 80s across southern Wisconsin, 90 in Peru, Illinois. To the northwest, temperatures are in the 30s over northwestern Minnesota, and that colder air is heading in our direction. Our forecast for tonight calls for gusty evening thunderstorms to develop, and then those will sweep through by about midnight. After that, it'll turn partly cloudy, breezy, and cooler late. Low temperature will tumble to 46 by morning, and for tomorrow, look for a high of only 56, even though it'll be mostly sunny, but it'll be breezy and much cooler. On future track, you can see that line of thunderstorms sweeping on through. Skies clear out overnight. Low temperatures in the middle 40s. Highs tomorrow only in the middle 50s with sunny skies. Clear skies tomorrow evening, turn cloudy overnight with showers and thunderstorms developing by Friday morning. Friday, we'll see some off and on chances for showers and thunderstorms. High temperatures only in the middle to upper 50s. Rainfall amounts, again, somewhere in the 1 to 2 inch range from Madison southward. Lighter amounts to the north and west. 7 to 10 day forecast calls for temperatures to yo-yo up and down. We'll stay cool for this weekend with rain chances. Warmer for the middle part or early part of next week, and then a cool down toward the end of next week, but off and on rain chances through about Friday of next week. As we take a look at first alert traffic, not a good day on the Beltline. That's the live view from the DOT camera at John Nolan Drive. Traffic moving slowly in both directions. Eastbound, though, it's pretty bad from Monona Drive all the way back to about Whitney Way. So if you're traveling eastbound on the Beltline right now, a 35-minute commute from University Avenue to the interstate. Westbound, a little bit better, but worse than normal. 22 minutes from the interstate back to University Avenue. Heading out of Madison, it's about 28 minutes down to Janesville on I-3990 from the Beltline. 21 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 20 minutes to Sun Prairie on US 151 and East Washington Avenue. That's your first alert traffic.
All right, Gary, thanks.
And still ahead at 5, we'll show you the new building opening in Madison that is dedicated to innovation and entrepreneurs. So when we come back.
News 3.
Welcome back. A new office building dedicated to innovation, collaboration, and entrepreneurs in Madison is now open.
The 9-story state-of-the-art Spark building represents American Family Insurance's investment in the city of Madison and will serve as the home for the company's digital transformation, venture capital, and community investment efforts. Spark is already home to Dream Bank and Starting Block Madison.
We see this as not only helping the community, but helping American family, because we know that successful small businesses become large businesses, like American Family, like Epic, like many other successful companies around Madison. And the community becomes better when we have strong and vibrant businesses.
That, of course, was CEO Jack Salzwedel.
Not Jack Spark.
I don't know, that might catch on. Spark will also be the headquarters of the new part of the company that will use entrepreneurial thinking, processes, and partnerships to address social issues.
The city of Madison has found a way for its residents to help pay for the expansion of the Old Brick Gardens. They're selling mini bonds. Those bonds are usually sold in denominations of $5,000, but the city has lowered that amount to just $500 to make them more accessible for community members. They'll be available from now through Tuesday, and the money raised will go towards building a new learning center and an energy-efficient greenhouse where staff will be able to grow even more flowers and plants. Construction should take about a year to complete. If you're interested in learning more, the city is hosting an informational session. It's at 6 tonight, another half hour or so. It'll be at the Warner Park Community Recreation Center. And stay with us. I have another check of your forecast in just a moment.
Keeping an eye on the weather.
Yeah, boy, out there, things pretty quiet around here. Look at those temperatures, lower to middle 80s across southern Wisconsin, near record high temperatures. Tornado watch in effect until 11 p.m. just north of our viewing area. You can see thunderstorms developing up near the Twin Cities, starting to form a line, and the Doppler track, well, nothing across southern Wisconsin right now. Future Doppler track shows that line of storms developing farther to the south and then eventually moving into southern Wisconsin after between about 7 and 8 o'clock tonight. After the line of storms, we turn much cooler. 56 for a high tomorrow. Upper 50s to lower 60s with some rain chances over the weekend. Then 70s early next week, and then back to the 60s toward the end of the week. But off and on rain chances in there, which we
What a
don't need.
change.
Big change tomorrow. Charlotte rejoins me in 30 minutes for News 3 at 6. CBS Evening News is next.